thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed all of your programs. You are
Thank you.
just
Thank you.
amazing. What I love about you is kind of like you always celebrate childhood. And no matter where we're at in our age or in our stage of life, it's all about the beauty of childhood memories and what makes us happy. And what I thoroughly loved about this season is that it's about not just here's toys that we love, but it's also about giving back.
Yeah, that's
And
what we're
so
trying to do. Yeah.
I was wondering if you could speak upon a little bit about what was the importance of the giving back, especially now during this time.
I mean, it was the entire reason to do the show, and it was the only reason to do the show. Like,
Right.
ever since the Toys That Made Us came out, people were telling me that we needed to do a show about the toy stores for years,
Hmm.
and I was like, no, we don't, because I just didn't think it was interesting, or I didn't think the public would find it interesting. And then when COVID came,
Hmm.
I was talking to a toy store owner, and here in California, I was like, because we knew a quarantine was what happens when the quarantine starts. And he was like, well, I've never been through one before, but if I had to guess, it means my income will go away, even though my expenses will stay the same.
Right.
And the minute he said that, I would say less than half an hour later, I decided to make the show. So it was all about that. It was about making money for the stores, but also getting exposure for the stores so they could make their own money directly through their online sales.
Right. Now, because of the whole COVID thing that we're going through, was it harder to film this time?
Well, it depends who you ask. If you ask me, it's the easiest shoot we've ever had,
Oh, wow.
literally. But the reason for that is we didn't shoot anything.
Ah.
All the stores shot the footage themselves.
Mm.
So they would send us the footage.
Mhm.
We would edit it. We would do the music. We would color correct it. We would do all the legal clearance work and all that. But they shot it themselves. Yeah, we, other than my openings, we didn't shoot anything.
Right. Now, because there was such an influx and such an interest ever since your first project, my question is, what is the process like to narrow it down? Because you can't do everything and cover all the stores.
So what we did was, when season 3 of Toys That Made Us premiered,
Mhm.
we had a launch party with 30 stores. So a year later with COVID, actually not a year later, like 4 months later, we went to those same 30 stores. We told them what we were going to do, and we asked them if they wanted to be involved. Of those 30 stores, I think 22 agreed to join our show.
Mhm.
Then we put out a press release to every store in the world and said, hey, we're doing this. Who wants to be a part of it? And the response was so good, we had to cap it at 50 stores. Otherwise, it would have been, I mean, well over 100.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
Wow. Now, when it comes to finding a store, is there some particular thing that sticks out the most? Is there a certain uniqueness about the store?
So we basically look for uniqueness.
Mhm.
So here's the good news. There's a few cities like Chicago or New York or LA that have a lot of vintage stores.
Right.
Like Chicago has at least 5. Most cities don't.
Right.
So in many ways, like, I was more interested, rather than have I think we're doing 2 Chicago stores.
Right.
Like, we probably could have done 4 or 5, but like, I wanted to show the audience what a store in St. Louis is like, or what a store in Tulsa is like.
Right.
So, we're doing 2 stores in Japan, a store in Mexico City, a store in Holland, 2 stores in England, and a couple Canadian stores, because I also wanted it to be a worldwide show and not just because that's very important to Amazon. So that really was the criteria. Like it had to be cool and unique, but I also really wanted to show the world and not just the same cities over and over again.
Right. Now you filmed 2 seasons basically in 1 year.
No. We filmed 10 seasons in a year.
Okay.
So we have 50 episodes worth of content. And we're putting them out 5 episodes at a time.
So what was that like? What would you say would be the benefits and kind of the frustrations of filming such massive quantities at once and putting that all together?
Well, I'll be honest with you, to the best of my knowledge, we didn't have any frustrations.
Okay.
The only person that screwed up the shooting was me. Literally everybody else sent us footage that was perfect. And I mean, listen, we started getting tons and tons of footage. We had to buy another double terabyte hard drive, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the only quote unquote problem.
Okay.
Everything else was upside. So we took the 50 stores that sent us footage and we just broke it down into what we thought would be good seasons. And then after we did that, we started working with 5 stores at a time.
Right.
And now we are, season 2 drops on Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
We are halfway through editing season 3. And yeah, I mean, at least season 3 and 4 will come out next year. I am going to try and have 3 seasons next year.
Oh, wow.
Try.
You're going to try. Trying is good.
Definitely, hopefully 2.
Okay. Now I know that you yourself, you're a massive collector. We can
What?
see right behind. I know.
Who told you that?
I heard a rumor. I'm not sure it's really true.
Who told you that?
But
I'm a collector with who probably needs intervention, but yes, it's true.
When did you start? And what was it that initially gave that spark that was like, I'm going to start collecting this?
Well, of my collection, which embarrassingly, to be honest with you, is over 2,000 pieces.
That's good.
The oldest pieces are literally the toys I played with when I was a kid.
Okay.
So I have my original R2-D2. I have 2 Lego minifigs. I have my original Enterprise, Ertl miniature. But that was just stuff that I saved. I think I started like collecting.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first thing I ever bought that I knew it was an AT-ST from Star Wars. I knew that I bought that in college.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first thing I ever bought that I knew I would put on a shelf and not play with. So everything before that were literally toys that I played with.
Okay.
But I would say I was like, oh, I'm a toy collector. I'll be honest with you, probably only about 10 years ago. Yeah.
Now, is there like a rule that you don't touch or play with the toys you collect? Or do you have like your own separate with like, I can go back and, play with this one, but not that one?
I have to admit, other than when I was a child with my current toys that are still here, I don't play with any of them.
Okay.
So let me make that loud and clear to the world. I do not play with toys.
Okay.
But I have nothing in storage. Like I don't buy anything and put it in storage. If I buy it, it's being displayed. I don't even like buying toys in boxes because A, you got to pay more for the box, and B, I don't want it in the box. So I feel bad if I have to throw out the box or put the box in storage. So pretty much everything I buy is on display.
Okay. So is it when you go to look for a toy, is it how it makes you feel or that memory or just how the design is?
Honestly, it's all of the above.
Okay.
So there's certain toys that remind me of my childhood,
Mhm.
and I'll buy them for that reason. There are certain toys that I like. I'll give you a great example. Like, I have an entire shelf, you can even see part of it here,
Mhm.
about Robotech. I don't know anything about Robotech. Nothing. But I love the design.
Okay.
I think the designs are brilliant and beautiful. So that's why I have a lot of Robotech. And then I have a bunch of other toys, a lot of these actually, where, to be honest with you, a lot of it has to do with making the toys that made us, because I learned about the history of the toy. And the more I knew about the history of the toy, the more, like, when I would see it for sale, I'd be like, oh, I know that story. And I would buy it for that reason.
Now you mentioned the toys that made us. There's also the movies that made us. I was wondering, by doing both of those productions, what other lessons that you learn, either as a filmmaker or a researcher, that you're able to apply to your other projects, especially with the Toy Store near us?
The main thing that we learned is interview, interview, interview.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is, we now do 2 pre-interviews before the main interview. So we get so much information that by the time we do the interview, like we already know what the answers are going to be, to a large extent.
Right.
So we don't really do that with a toy store near you as much, because with that show, for a variety of reasons, one of the things with a toy store near you is, because we're giving back most of the profit to the stores, I wanted the show to be as economical to make as possible.
Mhm.
So rather than do tons of research, which is very expensive, whenever we get to the point where we need more stuff, we just ask the owners to shoot more.
Oh.
So that's how we handle it there. But it's the same conclusion. More information is the key to a successful show.
Ah, very nice. And also, I know that there a rumor that there may be some theme parks that you're looking into to do a documentary on that?
It's more than a rumor. We are teamed up with Dwayne Johnson and $7 with Disney Plus, and in Q1 of 2021, next year. I just wanted to sound fancy by saying 2021. But early next year, that show's coming out, which is called Behind the Attraction.
Very nice. Now, lastly, if you could describe a toy store near us using 3 words, what would you use?
And keep in mind, I'm very biased,
Okay.
so I'm just worried it's going to sound egotistical, but I'm going to try and answer it anyway. Fun,
Mhm.
powerful, and important.
Ooh, I like that very much.
So I would say it's fun because it's about toys.
Mhm.
It's powerful because we tell the story about how the shops are being affected by the biggest plague, or whatever it's called, in 100 years.
Right.
And it's important because we're contributing money to the stores, and we want to raise as much money as possible so none of those stores go out of business.
Very nice. Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Thank you. I appreciate. Where you live, you look like you're somewhere cold.
I'm in New York City, so it's coldish.
I hear it's snowing tonight or tomorrow.
It's snowing tonight. Yeah, that's what it
Can I
says.
tell you something? You literally are not going to believe me, but I can find a picture and show it to you.
Yeah.
My mom, probably don't need to say this, as white as me,
Mhm.
same exact hair as you. Who the fuck knows why? But she literally, I'm looking at your hair being like, that is my mom's hair. She literally stole my mom's hair. So I'll end on that funny story.
Okay, thank you so much. And say hello to Mom as
I
well.
will. Where are you? What borough?
I'm in Manhattan.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from Queens.
Oh, very nice. Nearby. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Stay warm, stay safe, and yeah, have a great holiday.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.
Love the series.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Bye.